Now, last year, the total bill for state pensions hit $110 billion, and by 2025, it's forecast to reach $135 billion. That would be more than spending on defence, on education and the Home Office combined.
Such a huge bill is potentially down to several things. People are living longer on average, and the triple lock system has meant that pension payments rise by whatever is the largest: inflation, annual wage growth or 2.5%. This year that rise was 10%.
Now, it's been reported that 30% of respondents to a new pension poll said that they do not think that pensions would exist in 30 years' time. Many of those who took part in the poll also thought they would not retire until their 70s, or doubted if they would ever be able to retire at all.
Well, join us now to look at this situation is Sir Steve Webb, former Lib Dem Pensions Minister and partner at LCP. Steve, thanks so much for joining us. Many people say that the triple lock is unsustainable. You were the Pensions Minister who introduced the triple lock. This is your baby. Are people right to say it's no longer sustainable?
I don't think they are. And if you go back to 2010, the reason it started in the first place was because of the previous 30 years. And over that 30 years, the policy was to link the pension just to inflation. So you'll remember 1 year the pension went up 75 pence and there was a big outcry because it was just inflation. And the reason that matters is pensions are to replace what you used to earn. You know, if you've been used to earning 30,000 a year, 30,000, and suddenly the pension's 10,000, that's a massive drop. Now, yes, we hope people will have private pensions as well, but many don't. So the pension, the state pension, has to have some link to what people are earning. And for 30 years, it didn't. So the point of the triple lock was a formula, a ratchet, if you like, to try and recover the damage done in 30 years. And here we are 13, 14 years later, and we've started to recover, but there's still some way to go.
Steve, it seems to me over the years, it's always either gone up with wages or it went up with inflation. Then there was a triple lock. Are we saying we're constantly going to have to refine how pensions are operated? I mean, did you think at the time that the triple lock would be a temporary measure?
It certainly needed to go on for a decent length of time. As I say, if you're trying to recover 30 years of damage, you know, that was stability, if you like, but bad stability in my view, because the pension, you know, it's often said, one of the lowest state pensions in the Western world. And there is a reason why we needed this ratchet. And you'll remember, Esther, the years of coalition. If I'd had to go to George Osborne each year and say, can I have a bit more for the pension, please, like Oliver Twist, you know what the answer would have been. We needed a formula, we needed a rule, we needed a ratchet, and that's what's been going on for the last 13 years or so. It shouldn't go on forever. What we should do is have a target, which should be, let's say the pension should be a third of the average wage or something like that. And then you have a private pension, a workplace pension on top, and that's enough to live on. So let's decide what the pension should be, let's get it to that level, and then we can have a more stable situation.
Well, Steve, you're an experienced and wily politician. You know that as soon as you've introduced something, it's virtually impossible then to remove for political reasons. So is it not a bit fanciful to think that once we've hit this sort of target that you think we should be aiming for, that any government will be able to get away with saying, right, well, that's it now, we've got there, now we're going to get rid of this triple lock? Is it not now politically here to stay forever?
Probably not forever. I mean, the fact that we're having this conversation at the moment shows the tension of keeping it. You know, there is a pressure. There are other things we want to spend money on, including, I should say, money for things that older people care about. You know, if I'm waiting for a hip replacement, if I'm waiting for social care and we're told there isn't the money for that, but every year the pension gets hiked, I might even as a voter say, well, do you know what? If you said to me, we're going to pause the triple lock or hold, but the money we save from doing that will mean you get your hip done quicker, mean you get your social care assessment. You know, so I think you could be clever about how you did it, but at some point it will have to stop. It's how we get there.
Steve, I know this is complicated, but a quick answer if you can, because Simon Heffer wrote an article earlier this week, tell the young the truth, they won't get a state pension. Although that's a difficult message, is there some logic behind what Simon Heffer was saying? Because they've got time to plan for their future in the way that current pensioners don't.
If you thought they could build up enough on their own, that would be fine. But if you think about the sort of jobs lots of young people have, the costs of rent, perhaps even paying a rent in retirement, the idea that we don't have a state pension at all just doesn't seem right to me. Yes, by all means, encourage younger people to save more, but my goodness, they've got other things to spend on at the moment other than pensions.